Hello there, it's me, sorry. Today I'm here to let you in on my process of making a header for one of these groups on Facebook that I have created. This one is in Swedish and it's about stamping techniques and what else you can do with stamps and everything. And in this mode of the summer 2015, I'm sort of in the masking mode. I do want to experience that and learn more about masking as well as watercoloring. Or yeah, watercoloring really. So in this case I'm working with the pens from Spectrum Noir, and these are Spectrum Aqua markers, and they have two tips, one with a brush tip. It's really nice to color with that one, and they got a really nice and pointy one there as well. And you know where the brush is, the mark is there, there's a sort of a line there around it. So it's there, and these are easy to open up as well. Some of the Spectrum Noir markers, other markers, could be a bit difficult to open. Somebody reminded me of yesterday. So this is what I have made. I have used stamps from Vilda stamps this time. The cameras here, all these four, and the text stamp in the background are from Vilda stamps, and it's a camera kit. And you can find it on the web shop actually if you want to. I'm sure many other Swedish scrapbooking companies also carry stamps from Vilda stamps. But if you want to go to their main source, you could go to vildastamps.com and you will find these under kits. And you can also make that page go into a sort of an English version if you don't understand Swedish. And what I did with these, I also added on some other film themed stamps, or yeah, film theme, and then I put a ink splotch there, because imagine not having that one there, it would have been rather unbalanced. So I needed to put something else really black there. And now that I realized that I would like to make this header into something that has to do with stamping. I mean, include more things. So I might actually add on a shrunken down camera, because I do like this camera so much. It's one of my favorite camera stamps. And I'm thinking that if I were to stamp and color and then shrink down this camera into the fourth of this size, and I'm going to have it somewhere here, I'm hoping that would also point out even more about the fun things you could do with stamps and coloring mediums and such. But before I get totally lost, I'm here today to make a sort of a paper piecing method, since I do have these two cameras that I started out stamping, but I didn't really succeed making them work. So I decided I would use some of the parts, color them up, cut them out, put them on with some 3D foam tape or something, just so I can get some texture to them. And I wanted to color the camera bits in with sort of the similar colors that I have used here. But since I do find that the corks or the tops or the lids for these pens aren't exactly as they are supposed to be in the pen, I decided that I had to go and make myself a color chart for my Spectrum Aqua pens. So I just made this in Word. I made a table, and then I took the lines off before I printed it out, and then I have laminated it. And I wrote down the colors as I saw them, let's say in yellows and oranges and pinks and purples and greens and blues, and then the gray scale sort of. And in this case I'm actually able to just fill up the ink or the color here if I want to, or I could go to another sort of a laminated palette to work from. I do like to put the color on a sort of a slickery surface and then pick it up with a water brush like this. I must tell you that I have been over the moon by this water brush from Prima. At first it was perfect. I mean, the water just flowed nicely, there wasn't too much water going on. But lately I just find that these flew out. I mean, there's so much water going on, and I don't really know what to do with it other than just wipe it off with a piece of paper towel or something. But so accidentally I just happened to get this one with me yesterday when I was on a craft event, and I do believe this is the Tim Holtz's pen, and this one worked really well for me yesterday, so I'm hoping I will have the same success today. And so let's see where I'm going to end up. So here are the pens, the aqua markers, and they come in 4 different sets. And that is also something I wanted to remind myself of. There's a set called Nature, and I just colored that one in yellow. And then there's Floral set, which is in pink there. And then there is something that's called Essentials, and these are the grey tones and everything. And then there is the primary, no, the floral. Am I missing out on something here? It seems like I have, well, there's primary, Nature, Floral and Essentials. Those are the 4 sets to look for. I wish they would make more of these sets because I like the colors and the intensity of the colors, but I somehow seem to miss out on some hues of these colors, and I don't know why, but I would like to have more of them anyway. So let's see if I could do something sensible here. So as I told you, I like to put the color from the pen onto a slickery surface, and in this case I'm using this palette here. So let's see how well I can do this standing up. And I'm sort of afraid of getting my fingers here and rubbing off the color. And of course it does rub off, so you need to pay attention to not have your hand lying on top of the colors, because you aren't sealing them on a slickery surface now, are you? And since I do have this one, I'm hoping to be able to look from that a little bit just to make those things pop. But on the other hand, I really don't need to make them exactly the same. So in this case I'm going for the desert color, and I'm going to start by coloring this bit in, I believe. And what I did yesterday, I mean, I did spend quite some time coloring those camera bits in. So it isn't done in a second, but I do like to color things in with watercolor markers, and just a watercoloring technique really. So I start off with a rather pale sort of hue here, and then I go on using something a little bit darker. So I'm going to go for the tan, because I do want to create some kind of a shadowy effect there, just to create some interest. And I'm just putting it here and there, not everywhere, you see. So that was those 2 colors. I'm thinking that perhaps that could do for now, and I could really just be happy with that, just make a color up there. And I'm thinking I'll go for the marigold, or should I go for the gold? But that was a color I really started fancying yesterday. So I'm just going to put a little bit of gold there, but I see that it's rather pale, so I'm just going to go in and pick up some marigold instead. And I haven't cleaned the brush in between these things. As you can see, it still works rather well. But now that I'm going to go for a completely different color, I might actually just wipe it off on a piece of scrap paper like that. So now I'm going to focus on this bit, because I'll be cutting this one off separately. So let's see, I could go for slate just to see what could happen if I just were to put that there. And the trick to watercoloring is really that you choose your main location, you put the color there, and it's going to be darkest there, and then you can just swipe it off and go out upwards, and automatically you're getting a paler version of that color there. So now I'm going to continue with the tan, put in a little there, and when it dries it gives a nice subtle effect really. So that I've used slate and tan. I could try with the boulder. That one will give a difference, but you can see here that just by wiping it off like that, I could also just use my hand now to pick up the excess there. I need to get some paper. Because if you feel like you have put in too much color, just clean up your brush and put some water on, and then just dab it off, and you will get a lighter version of it. So let's see, what could I do with the... I do have some yellow here actually, I forgot about that, so it rather looks nice. So I'm going to go for the sunflower here. And I'm just going to put it there and drag it out. So you see how easy it is to color, and I'm not an expert when it comes to coloring, mind you. I never have claimed to be that either. There are so many good or talented coloring artists out there, so if you want to have a proper schooling in how to watercolor, you should look for them really. And now I'm going to go for the bit here. And I'm looking for something greyish, so I'm going to go for charcoal, and I'm just sort of, I'm sorry, I'm sort of out of frame here, but I'm wetting it up so I can get a paler version of that charcoal. So that is the thing to think about also, that you can get a few shades of one colour if you just add on enough water to it. So just by doing like this, I just use this one colouring point. I started off here and I dragged it out here, and you can see that I have got at least two different shades, and that is sort of interesting as well, I think. So having the charcoal there, I'm thinking, should I go with something else? Perhaps sepia, but it's going to make it a little bit more dark. So I'm going to go for the tan yet again. Just to tie it together a little bit. And I might actually just put it down here as well. And just drag it out. So it gives it sort of a nice character there. And if I think it's too much, I could just wipe it off. So watercolouring is rather forgiving a method when it comes to watercolouring. And here I like to put in something blue, and I'm thinking that the aquamarine down here is rather nice. And I'm also making this one go a little bit paler. And I start off here where I see that there is some kind of a shadiness going on already, and then I can just work it out like this, making it a little bit more paler on the other side there. Because sometimes you just want a subtle effect, don't you? So this is where we are now, right now. You can hardly see it, but there is something there, and I think that could be enough. So if I'm just going to compare what I have done so far, you can see that it doesn't take that long to colour things in. So if you just focus on this bit here, I'm sort of there, but I could of course go on and putting in something more, some more depth to it. So if I go for the chestnuts over here, you can't really see me now. I could just try to see what happens if I put it there and perhaps there. And then I'm going to wipe off the brush again because I see it's too much. I'm just going to swipe across like this, and I'm going to put on this paper just to pick it up. It seems like I may have gone overboard here, but I'm sure I could rescue it somehow. And in this case I don't really have to pay attention to being inside the lines, because I'm going to cut this off anyway. So if I want to rescue this and make it sort of even more, so I need to put on some more of the desert colour, and I'm going to go and put that where I have it really, so it's in the right place. I don't have to hesitate about having the right or the wrong colour. So if I'm going to go put in some more desert like that, I'm hoping I'll be able to just cover up my mistake there. And the thing about watercolouring is also that you need to let it dry in between, so you don't go directly onto lying in between or the next field that is close to the thing that you have started colouring on. So if I were to put these on that one, I wouldn't get the same result, but on the other hand I'm thinking it doesn't matter perhaps. Perhaps it's a good thing not having the cameras looking alike completely. So I'm thinking that this might do. Or should I put in some more tan? I mean, I have gotten quite a few favourite colours by working with these yesterday. So I'm going to go for the tan. And you see, the tan looks grey here, but when I put it on here, it isn't the same now, is it? So that's why I was so bewildered yesterday when I was looking for the colours, and I couldn't really find them because I was just looking for the tips or the lids. So I had to place the pens in the perfect order and everything, and I just thought that was rather too much to ask for in that particular moment. And I'm going to wipe off the brush and put in some more water and just wipe it off a little bit. And I'm going to go in once more because I do want it to be a bit stronger up here. And this is basically what I do. I just dab in and put in more, wipe off, put in more, wipe off, put in more, because then I can get the depth that I have gotten on the cameras with the different hues of orange there. So perhaps I should settle for this. I'm not sure, but I should. Sometimes, you see, I can't really relax standing up, filming myself. So now I'm just going to cut off the bit here. And this is a sort of a paper piecing method. I mean, if you want to, you don't have to color the stamped images. You could actually just stamp them on pattern paper. And that's a fun method as well. So perhaps I ought to have done that for the other camera completely. Just stamp it on a pattern piece of paper, because that's rather fun. So now I got myself a new idea in the midst of all of this. So now I'm just going to take that part there. And I have to beware a little bit, because, be wary or something, because the paper is a little bit wet. So handling wet paper might be tricky. It might tear. So now I need, well, you see, I could actually just cut it off like that. I forgot about myself. I could have actually left the complete thing there, because I'm going to glue this down like so. Nobody's going to be the wiser if the complete camera picture is there or not. And then I'm going to glue this one there. So it's a nice thing. I should actually keep the image there, so I know where I am. So this is what it looks right now. Looks right now. It'll have to do. So I'm just going to take some double-sided foam tape. It's really easy to glue these down, but I'm thinking that I want to raise the height of this. I want it to show taking a picture and everything, because that is what I find. It's rather difficult to actually make the resin effect visible enough. So it's a good thing actually to leave this bit here, because then you have something to go by when you're gluing it down. So I'm taking 2 pieces of tape on both of these. I'm sorry for being out of frame, I didn't realize that. So now I'm just putting it there. And I must say that it is actually more visible now with the 2 layers there. Of course, it could have been a nice touch to color it underneath, because if I'm going to take a picture from the side or something, I'm going to see the whiteness there. But, well, I'm hoping that will do. And then I was thinking of actually putting a die-cut word that says smile. I do like to die-cut words and shapes out of funky foam. And in this case, there is something in between, so I needed to poke them out like that, and I'm just using my tweezers here. You could go for a needle or something like that. Something that actually goes in easily enough. And, well, I might think that it's too much with the orange, but at the same time, I love orange. So I'm thinking perhaps I should have something, a little bit of me in here as well. So now the point is to ask myself whether to have it up here or there. I'm thinking it balances out better having it up there. And since I'm all about creating depth and everything, I'm thinking perhaps I should have it there even. But at the same time, I'm thinking it could be nice to have it on both sides. I'm thinking now that I want this word to create another layer. Because if I'm just having it here, well, I can see that there's a layer underneath it, and I'm placing that one over there. So perhaps I should put it there anyway, because I'm keeping this cohesive and together more in that way. So I'm going to use Glossy Accents as my glue, because it has a really small and nice tip. So let's see, I could just use this paper here as a protective surface. And I'm just keeping it down with my finger. And what I have found out with these small Glossy Accents bottles is that they don't clog up as much as the big one does. So I think that is a really nice thing. So I'm sort of preferring to buy these, because now I know that I can actually make use of all of it. But when you have it sticking down on your finger like I managed to do here, well, let's see if I can get it to stick down. I'm just taking my tweezers, because I found that it's easier for me to just place it down like that with that. And then I have also, I mean, I did use quite a few die-cut foam pieces in my mini album that I posted just the other day. So you could just look for that if you're going to, if you're just realizing or finding this video right now. So just go there so you can see how fun you can have with those strike-up words in a mini album as well. So the smile is there, but there is also a dot for the eyes. So I'm just trying to get that. And instead of getting the glue on this one, I'm trying to imagine where the dot could look good. And I'm going to put the dot there. And I lost it almost. And I'm just going to pick it up with my tweezers like that. And I'm going to drop it there. I mean, this is so tiny. So this is too tiny for me really to find attractive working with it. I don't really fancy this much fiddling, but since I do like it and it completes the smile word in a good way, I do want to put it there. And I'm just using an ink pad or something just to press it down gently so it will get a better stick to the thing. So smile, I sort of like the placement of that one. Now I'm just going to think about whether to make a paper piecing effect on this or something. But I do like the, I mean I did a paper piecing, but I was thinking perhaps I should have made it with a pattern paper. But the next thing for me to do, I believe, is to just make a shrunken down camera, and perhaps I'll even color it in with some Spectrum Noir markers just to get those cameras going there. So this is going to be the banner. I'm rather happy with it actually. So I hope you are interested in or inspired to do your own masking and coloring with watercoloring mediums. It's rather fun, I must say. Sort of therapeutic and relaxing. So I hope to see you the next time. Until then, bye bye.